Hello lovely people! This week I'm bringing you a book haul of all the lovely little things I've gotten my hands on recently.
Sophie vlogs.
I've got quite a few this week, unintentionally, so I'm just going to dive straight into it. First of all, every year for Valentine's Day, my lovely boyfriend gets me a book token, and coincidentally, at the exact same time, the lovely Matt from MCS Books recommended me a book. He works in a cute little bookshop, and they got this book in recently, and he was like, made me think of you. And boy, was he right. So I have used it to buy Never Anyone But You by Rupert Thompson. So, this begins in Provence, where these two girls fall in love. They run away to Paris, and they reinvent themselves, and they surround themselves with other cool creative types, and then World War II begins to loom on the horizon. So they leave, and they go to Jersey. I'm just going to read you the back of this bit. With war looming, they leave Paris for Jersey, and it is here that they confront their destiny, dreaming up a campaign of propaganda against Hitler's occupying forces that will put their love and even their very existence into jeopardy. From one of our most celebrated writers, Never Anyone But You explores the gripping true story of two extraordinary women who smashed gender boundaries and ultimately risked their lives to overcome oppression. This is a story that has been hidden in the margins of history until now. This is me in a nutshell. So I am so intrigued by this. The fact that it is a true story has like super piqued my interest, because while I would be here for this narrative anyway, I now really want to read it because I want to understand who these women were and what they did. So I'm so excited. Also, I really like this cover. I think it's quite like chic. Don't know if that's what anyone else would think, but it does for me. Next up are a run of books which I bought myself from some second-hand bookshops, starting with The Essex Surfer by Sarah Perry. I remember when this came out, this was all over BookTube. I didn't get my hands on it then, I have got my hands on it now. I think the cover is gorgeous. So this is 1893. Our main character, Cora. Her husband dies, she becomes a widow, she moves off to the countryside for their estate or whatever. There are rumours of this mysterious creature called the Essex Serpent abounding. Cora seems like someone who is very rooted in science, who wants to discover this creature, and then there's also this guy who is, I think, a vicar, a reverend, minister, William Ransom, who thinks the cure for hysteria lies in faith, while Cora is convinced that science offers the answers. So they disagree with each other, but they're drawn to each other. I'm assuming there is going to be some sort of creature happening. So my sense is that this is sort of like a mystery that's also exploring like this clash between science and faith, and can the two coexist, that sort of thing. So that sounds super duper interesting. After reading Mackenzi Leigh's Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy, that had a really lovely theme of like naturalism and botany running through it, which I really enjoyed. And also I went to see the History of Magic exhibition at the British Library when that was on, and there was loads of really cool stuff to do with botany and naturalism and science and all these people who were the first ones to discover things. So like those two things combined, when I realised that this was like this scientific lady type thing, made me really want to check this out. So I'm excited for that. After that is another beautiful cover, and that is Lud-in-the-Mist by Mirrlees. Oh, that really brings out the Bristolian in me. Essentially, this has been on my radar for a while because I understand that it is very fae, lots of fairy tale inspired stuff, I think. Like fae are like a thing. So essentially, my understanding from the back is that Lud-in-the-Mist is this little town, and they believe in only what is like solid and practical and known and stuff like this. However, Nathaniel Chanticleer, which is a great name, a dreamy, melancholy man, is deliberately ignoring a vital part of his own past, a secret he refuses even to acknowledge. But with the disappearance of his daughter and a long overdue desire to protect his son, he realises Lud is changing and something must be done. And then there's a quote from Mary Gentle on the back which says, a Shakespearean tragicomedy, a murder mystery, and a multifaceted allegory all in one, and a damn good story too. Those are all things that I'm interested in. So again, this mystery thing, except for this time we've got elements of fae, we've got like humour but also like tragedy. So like, just keep being like, ooh, vague little buzzwords. These are things I'm drawn to, but I am. So I'm really excited. This has been one that I've wanted to read for a while, and I just haven't ever got round to it, but now I am going to. After that is a book which is on my radar because someone on BookTube talked about it, and for the life of me I can't remember who, but I saw it in Oxfam when they were having a half-price day, so I went for it. That is The Sealwoman's Gift by Sally Magnusson. So, in 1627, an actual historical event that happened is that pirates raided the coast of Iceland and abducted 400 people into slavery in Algiers. So, Sally Magnusson takes that as her start point, and she imagines this, is it a pastor's wife? Yeah, a pastor, his wife and their children, who were taken, and this book is her imagining what happened to the woman, Asta. But also, the back makes it sound like that what Asta clings to are like these stories, and these like tales and legends and stuff that have been, like, so like essentially Icelandic tales is what she clings to when all of this is happening. And so it explores the relationship between her and the person who has, I think, bought her, because I think she is sold as a slave. I am interested in this specifically for this Icelandic story angle. I feel like whoever it was who talked about this really enjoyed this, which is what made me definitely go for it. I don't know if I've just invented that, but we'll see. But, like, I really enjoy these, like, narratives that focus on storytelling and stuff like that, so I'm, if nothing else, very excited for that aspect of this story. I'll see what the thing as a whole is like when I get round to it, but, like, that's what really, like, hooked me in here. The next two books are books that I don't really know much about, but there is just so much love for them that I went for them. First up is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and I specifically picked this up because one of my favourite booktubers is Holly at Holly Done Design, who is actually, her main job is that she is a illustrator. She does book covers and stuff like that. Her book design videos are so interesting. I follow her on Instagram as well, and I covet everything she does, and one day I'm going to do like a massive order from her shop, because she lives in New Zealand, so it'll take a while to get to me. But she does these beautiful designs based on The Name of the Wind. She loves it, it's one of her favourite books. And I've been looking at these designs, and I've been like, this is so beautiful, but I have no idea what it's referencing. There's all these like aspects to it, which I'm sure are references to things that happened, but I don't know what they are, because I haven't read the book. So again, Oxfam Half Price Day, and I found this, and I was like, oh, like little choirs began to sing, and I was like, this could be my moment. So, all I know is that this is the first book in a fantasy series. The back gave me no information, really, so I still don't know any specifics. I think someone is a musician, because Holly's designs keep having like a little lute on them. I'll find out. But I know that this is like a big one in the world of fantasy, so I'm sure lots of people know much more than I do. So I'm excited. And then the next one, which I don't know a lot about, but again, there's been a lot of talk and hype, is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, which is part of it's the first book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but it's part of the Grishaverse, and I know that the Grishaverse is getting turned into like a Netflix series, so when I saw this, it's a lovely cover. I like me some gold highlighting on a cover. And I was like, if I'm gonna read it, I should probably try it out before the Netflix series comes around, because then, like, I'll go on the internet and everything will be spoiled. That's what happens. So I picked it up for £1, and I'm gonna give it a try. I know people who've loved this. I also know people who hated this. I think it's Cindy. I can't remember her name, but I'll link her channel below with everyone else who I've mentioned. I think Cindy hated it. So, like, I'm gonna go in and just see what it's like. If you've read this, do let me know your thoughts. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Is it worth reading the whole series? I know she has another series, which I think is also part of the Grishaverse. Is that one better? I don't know. Just give me your thoughts. Now we move on to the section of the video where I didn't actually buy any of these books myself. So the next book is one which my mum gave me because she was having a clear out. I don't know if she read it or not, but that's The Kingmaker's Daughter by Philippa Gregory. This is all about Anne Neville, who married Richard III. I recently did a podcast episode with my friend about Richard III, the Shakespearean play. I don't know if that's live yet. My podcast is in the links down below, so like, do feel free to have a look if you're interested and see if it's there. But essentially, like, having just looked at Richard III, the Shakespearean play, where Anne Neville is like just a poor woman, like, you know, Richard is deeply villainous, etc. So when my mum was like, do you want to read this book? I was like, you know what, I've just been like looking at this play. It would be interesting to read a book from the point of view of Anne, so I went for it. I gather this is about her marrying him and then blah blah blah. Like, I know the history behind this already, but I'm interested to see how Philippa Gregory herself interprets it. And I also haven't read any historical fiction in quite a while, so it'll be nice to dip my toe back in again. Okay, all the rest of these books are books which I work at a children's magazine publishing company, and we get sent a bunch of books by a bunch of different like publishing houses and stuff like this. So these are all ones which were just like a free-for-all. If you want them, you can take them, and I wanted them, and I took them, because, again, Matt at MTS Books has been doing quite recently, throughout the month of February, he did a reading children's literature type, like, themed month, and that made me really want to read children's literature. So when I saw these ones, I was like, hey, this is like a beautiful moment coming about. So, the first two are advanced readers copies. That is Mera Tidebreaker by Danielle Paige. This is out now. This is a graphic novel all about Mera, the DC Comics little mermaidy thing. I'm not actually that familiar with Mera as a figure, although I know she is like tied into Wonder Woman's universe as well. And then the next one is out. When do you come out? Publication date is July this year, so this will be out soon. And that's Under the Moon by Lauren Myracle, which is a Catwoman story. So these are both DC little graphic novel things. I haven't actually read that much DC stuff. I've read a lot more Marvel, because most of the comics I read are ones that my friend Mark sends me once he's done with them. So he just seems to read a lot more Marvel than DC. So it'll be interested to dip into those at some point. Okay, the final two books are both also children's books. First up is Beyond the Bright Sea by Lauren Wolk. This is Crow washed up on a tiny windswept island when she was just a few hours old with three things: a birthmark in the shape of a feather, a ruby ring, and a sea-soaked letter of which just a few cryptic words remain. But it is only when a mysterious fire appears across the water that Crow starts to wonder who she really is, and sets out on an unforgettable treasure hunt, one that will show her what it truly means to be a family. I thought that sounded really sweet and interesting. I think this is out now. It doesn't have like a release date on it, so I think it's just a book that's out. And again, I was like, you know what, let's just read some nice children's lit. So I'm hoping this is going to be like a really lovely children's book about like a girl who finds herself and goes on like a little treasure hunt and stuff like that. So I'll see how it actually ends up being. And then the final book I couldn't resist because I think it has a really lovely cover. And that's Popkin and Stubbs by Sophie Green, illustrated by KJ Mantford. And I just thought that this cover was so lovely. And there's illustrations throughout. I can't find any at this current moment. Oh wait, yeah I can. Little illustrations throughout. It's like a little mystery book. Lil Popkin, wannabe reporter, doesn't scare easily. She spends her time stalking the streets looking for a story, sticking her nose in where it doesn't belong, desperate for a news scoop. And as Lil is about to discover, a scoop can be found anywhere at all, even sitting opposite her in the all-night bus station. I just think this looks really cute, and a little like children's mystery book. I am so ready for it. So, it's just something really sweet. I'm probably going to try and read that one quite soon because it looks fun. Hey, those are all the books I had to talk about this week. I wasn't planning on doing a haul anytime soon because I'm trying to get my book pile down and return all the books that people have lent to me and stuff like that, rather than buy new ones. But I am also a human who loves reading, and I'm never going to be like, no, I won't buy this book that I actually really want, blah, blah, blah. Like, books are great. They enrich your life. I like them. Oh, what a ramble. So, as per usual, have you read any of them? Give me your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Do any of these interest you? All of those things, do let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you next week for something different, and I hope you have a really lovely day.